I've got this book, Hockey Priest. It's about Father David Bauer. And I only played 1 year with the national team, but in the book, he interviewed all of the players over many years, and a lot of the he really studied, looked at the family history, and it was my experience with the national team that resulted in me getting a job in the Catholic system. And I really wasn't what you call a very religious person, a very devout person. In fact, growing up, I couldn't, the masses were in Ukrainian. I couldn't understand them. So I memorized the prayers and the Psalms in Ukrainian when I was little, and I can still repeat the Lord's Prayer and Hail Mary in Ukrainian. But when I went to Father Bauer and that team, and he wasn't even coaching, but the team itself, former players largely from St. Mike's, created his own national team in Vancouver, moved to Winnipeg, created 2 teams, and he wanted to have us in the Olympics because that was the ideal of being involved in sport. And the book is about the struggle of the NHL not letting him continue with his experiment with student athletes. And, I think the work you're doing would be really interesting to hear where it goes. But the bottom line is, we're talking about student athletes. And our priority, while the NHL is the elite model of everything, the most important thing to me, and I think to Tom, is the way they learn to trust and respect and conduct themselves playing a sport the right way and being held accountable and responsible. Tom, the incident that you described, I I don't know if I should edit it out or not, but that's a fact of the times back then.
It was pretty common.
It was very common, and I know when I coached Major Junior, I absolutely stopped having the rookies carry all the bags in, and I just put a stop to that.
That's funny. I just, as a head coach of a high school program, I don't like freshman duties. That's something that irks me. Similar principle. If they've got enough to worry about, we should be all equals here. If anyone's going to do it, it'll be the seniors, but I prefer just we all pick up pucks and do nets rather than putting more burden on the younger ones. They feel uncomfortable enough trying to assimilate to the group as is.
You create a divisiveness when you do those kind of things. It's a ritual, it's a cultural thing that men have created that they accept. And I think, the behavioral side of growing up playing hockey is always very important, probably the most important part. What you accept, what you don't accept, where you draw the line behaviorally, and how you treat one another. I always go back to 2 words, Greg, and it's trust and respect. As a coach, you breed that, you build that, you grow that. And you do it because you do it for the right reason, and you learn to do it better and better over time. So, but listen, August 8th, I've written it down. I will make it a formal go-to date. Okay? And just to let you know, I'm going to be getting Matt Hoven on, who's the author of this book. And Matt interviewed me, and he's used, I think there's 30 pages of players' quotes or players' statements that he's incorporated into it. And on a hockey point of view, there's a line in here that came from Father Bauer, and it was, technique matters, but let the spirit prevail. And it's sort of like how much is coaching is overcoaching in terms of letting them feel free to play and express themselves. And there's a section in there where the 2002 Olympics, Pat Quinn and I, with the men's coaching staff, talked about throwing away their 52-page playbook and letting the players play. They'll figure it out. And it's in the book.
Yeah,
So
I love that figured out mentality of like getting people in the mind of like, I'm not coming to rescue you. Stop looking to the coach all the time for every little detail. Actually, I did think of one thing. We were kind of going through this of something I'm trying to do, but I have no idea how to accomplish it. I'd really love my dad's favorite coach to come on the Hockey IQ podcast, but I don't know how to get in touch with Scotty Bowman. You guys are well more networked than I am, and I'm hoping you have connections to Scotty in some capacity.
would you
I know he
repeat
lives
that?
down in Florida now.
Now, what was the question about the coach?
My dad's favorite coach is Scotty Bowman. So
Yeah.
my parents are both from Pittsburgh. So Scotty Bowman was the coach after Coach Bob passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
And for many reasons, Scotty was my dad's favorite coach growing up. So I'd love to get him on the Hockey IQ podcast. Or just make some kind of connection to Scotty. So I don't know if you guys have any connections, but that would be a really cool thing for me to do, kind of for my dad a little bit.
I've met him a few times, but it was mostly my Finnish friend. He'd asked him to be his assistant in Buffalo, and he took us out for lunch one day and all this. And I also met him in Vienna at a conference, but I don't know. I don't have any contact info or anything about it.
Okay. Thank you.
I know of a few people that might be able to contact him and propose it. I've met him with the national women's team. We were playing in the Detroit arena, and they had returned from a road trip, and he stood on the bench with me during watching the the girls practice. It was just loosen up, skate, and he just wanted to watch Wickenheiser. So
not a bad player to watch.
And so that's my only encounter. But philosophically, watching him coach and the way he coached, he simplified the game compared to today's game, which appears to be effective and working and complex. I just wonder. My question to him, if we ever got him on, is how does he see the game today, and how would he coach today to get the best result he could? What would he change? And I'm curious about that. The bench management of Scotty was, from what I've heard and read and studied, is he knew how to use people. And when they accepted not playing, and they knew why they weren't playing. So he was the guy that if your line scored a goal, you're getting a shift off, but you're going right back out. So he was able to manipulate the motivational coaching and maintain a relationship in a coaching era that was far different than the one we're in right now.
Yeah. Well, I know Scotty's down in Florida, so he might be near Mitch Korn and Daryl Belfry and a bunch of the other hockey coaches that seem to be down in that Southwest Florida-ish region. I want to say he might be in Tampa. I don't think he's all the way down in Naples, where they have the American Hockey Coaches Association. And it seems like I was flying down once randomly to that airport, and I had 3 hockey coaches on the same flight, and they were going to their winter quarters now that they're retired.
Well, I'll talk to Daryl about see what if he can help. Are you still talking to Daryl?
Yeah, we still chat. Pretty, especially around the award ceremony. We had the entire awards swept up with the players he's working with, so it's pretty nice. Just giving him congratulations on that, and then we chat for a bit.
Well, I've got to head out now, and I want to thanks for popping on, Greg. And I've earmarked the 8th of August. And
Sounds good. I got that in my calendar as well.
Okay, and I'll see what we can do about somebody like Scotty. You know, when you get a guy with a name like that, you're going to get listeners, followers, and hits. And the big thing is just tapping into his wisdom. And I've known a few coaches that, similar to him, had doctorate degrees in common sense.
It's a good way to put it.
And I really think coaching is that simple, like Yogi Berra. It's the ability to read people and manage people to perform well and feel good. And it relates to Jacobs Newton's work. We just want everybody to feel better and play better and be better at what they do. So, okay, we're going to sign off here now, and you take care. And thanks for coming on, Greg and Tom.
Well, Greg, I think you might be interested in looking at my Facebook page.
Okay.
You know what? The ice hockey coaching youth to pro. Because I did this camp last week where I got to do exactly what I wanted to do. And I had my coaching staff that, and they got 1 skating a day and then 2 hockey ice time, 75 minutes. Then we did an off ice in a classroom. And having my staff and all that, and we had I think 28 skaters and 3 goalies, and the 3 goalies enabled me to do, you know, like cross ice things that I, you know, that everybody was active and this sort of thing. And we had to adapt, of course, a lot of the things we do with the team because there's like 10 more players than they have on our team. But I don't know if you look, I put about 30 little video clips about it. I think you'd be interested in it because it's a lot of using the game to teach the game. So we teach a concept, then put that rule within the game. And I don't know, it was just the players absolutely loved the camp and everything. And it was just as good a camp as I've ever, you know, experienced in my life. So
it looks
you might be
cool.
interested in looking at some of the stuff.
Checking it out right now on my phone. I like the some of these things, like striding on 1 skate all the way down the rink and continuous 2v1 into 3v3, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm gonna check that out. Thanks, Tom.
Alrighty.
All right. See you, gents.
We'll talk to you guys later, and look forward to the 8th, Greg. Take care.
Okay. See y'all.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, well, I'll see you, Wally. Get